Hi friends, good morning to all. Today we are going to study the seed dormancy. Seed dormancy is a condition in which the viable plant seeds fail to germinate under the optimal environmental conditions. Means though the seeds they are there in the soil, the conditions they are favorable, but for some while or for some time they cannot germinate or they will not germinate. And this condition in the seeds is called as seed dormancy. The seed dormancy may be of primary dormancy and prevents immediate germination and regulates the time, conditions, and place that germination will occur. The seed dormancy can be due to conditions in the embryo, in the tissue surrounding the embryo, or the combination of both. Therefore, the dormancy in nature, various types of dormancy. Primary dormancy have evolved to aid in the survival of species by programming the germination time for suitable times in the annual cycle. As the seeds lying in the soil, anytime they will not germinate, but they will germinate when the favorable conditions will be available for their germination. And it is under the control of environmental as well as some other conditions that we are going to study later on. Leaving non-dormant viable seeds germinate when soil temperature and moisture conditions are suited for the cellular process and division. Because during the germination, many processes have to happen in the seeds, and to happening these processes, when the conditions are favorable, only during that period or only during that time, the seeds will germinate. Seeds with primary dormancy do not germinate even under the ideal germinating conditions. As I have been already told you, the dormancy in the seed is that though the conditions are favorable for the germination, but for some time or during the dormancy period, the seeds will not germinate. Whereas the secondary dormancy is the further survival mechanism resulting or induced by the unfavorable external or environmental conditions. Means basically there are two types of dormancy in the seed, that is primary dormancy and secondary dormancy. What are the factors they are leading to the dormancy in the seed? When we see about that, then we come to know such factors in which the mechanical resistance or mechanically resistant seed coats, which are not allowing entry of water inside the seed. Therefore, they are leading to the dormancy. The growing embryo is unable to exit the seed coat due to the tough and mechanical seed coat. For instance, mustard seeds or paper grass and etc. The plants which are having seeds with hard seed coat, they will be mechanically stopped or they will have the mechanical seed dormancy because of their resistant seed coat. Another type or another reason for the seed dormancy is impermeable seed coat. Many plants have hard seed coats that are impermeable to water, gases, chemicals. As a result, the seed never germinates and remain dormant. The examples of such impermeable seed coats, they are Cynopodium, Xanthium, Brassica, Alba, and other plants. They are also be considered under this impermeable seed coat, like the pulses and our other. The another reason, that is the rudimentary and poorly developed embryos, is also one of the important reasons behind the seed dormancy in the seeds. At the time of seed germination, the embryos of seed are still immature and rudimentary, like Ginkgo biloba and Eranthus hymilis, and other examples come under this type of seed dormancy, which is because of the underdeveloped embryos, and they will develop during the resting phase or the dormancy period of the seed, and for that they require time, and that is called as seed dormancy. The dormant embryos is another reason behind the late in the germination of seed, or that is called as a seed dormancy. Although the embryo is in many species of apple, peach, cherry, pines, etc., on are fully developed in ripe seeds, and the seeds fail to germinate even when the environmental conditions are ideal. In the presence of well-developed embryos also, many times because of other types of dormancies, seeds will not germinate even in the favorable conditions. This is due to the embryo physiological immaturity when they go through the after ripening process, and they can germinate. Means we may feel like that if the seeds that are developed in the matured fruit, they should germinate, but in such plants they will not germinate because they require after ripening process, or there is a process which is going to happen in the seeds that is called as after ripening process, and after only this after ripening process the seeds will germinate. In other cases, there are many germination inhibitors in the seeds. The presence of compounds known as inhibitors is also a significant impact on the seed germination. Some natural germination inhibitors can be found in the fruit pulp, seed coat, endosperm, embryos, or structures surrounding them, and so on. Means if the seed is lying within the fruit, the food pulp may also induce the dormancy in the seed, or in some other cases, the endosperm itself will also have some germination inhibitors in them, and with the time, these germination inhibitors will lower down, and that will lead the germination of seed in the latter on. Abscisic acid, phenolic acid, short chain fatty acids, coumarin, and other important chemicals, they act as a germination inhibitors, which used to be present in the mature fruit, or in the mature seeds, or in the endosperms, etc. The specific light requirement is also another condition which is leading to the seed dormancy in some seeds, because some plants are there which require a specific light time or light period before their germination of the seeds. And in that case, the examples are Nicotiana tabacum, then Lactona sativa. These are some species, unless and until their seeds will be exposed for a light for some time or for some days, they will not germinate. These are the different reasons of or causes behind the seed dormancy. Now we are going to see the types of seed dormancy, which includes the primary dormancy. That may be because of exogenous or endogenous or combinational type of effect. And secondary dormancy is the thermodormancy, and the conditional seeds have primary dormancy when they shed from the plant, while secondary dormancy is where seeds were previously not dormant but render dormancy due to the external unfavorable conditions. Means if the seed dormancy is within the seeds or within the fruits, or it is naturally within the seeds themselves, it is called as a primary, and whenever it is induced because of some external factors or some other factors, that is called as a secondary dormancy. Then in primary dormancy, the exogenous dormancy is embryo, for example, the seed coat and or the fruit parts. That is called as a primary dormancy. This material surrounding the embryo may inhibit the imbibition of water, or limit the oxygen to the embryo, or prevent inhibitor leaching for conversely supply inhibitors to the embryos. Therefore, the exogenous dormancy may be physical or chemical. Means both factors may involve in the primary dormancy, that is physical, or they may be chemical. Physical dormancy factors, that is seeds with such dormancy fails to germinate due to the seed coat that are impermeable to the water. Example, the Malvaceae family, like okra, bhendicha seed, that also is responsible, or that is also in the primary dormancy. The chemical dormancy is, that is, the chemical and seed covering may inhibit the germination. Example, ABA in a fresh and seed coats, in the flesh of seed coats. There are endogenous dormancy, that is because of the physiological dormancy, results from the characteristic of embryo that prevent the germination of embryo. The basis of this type of dormancy is that the embryo lacks the growth potential. Means, what is the required potential for the germination, that if it is not attained by the seed, that may lead to the dormancy. The growth potential is the force exerted by the radicle to penetrate the seed coat. Then types of endogenous dormancy. Physiological seeds cannot germinate unless they have received a dormancy breaking treatment. Means if there is any physiological factor behind the dormancy, we should have to treat that factor, and only after that the seed will germinate. The morphological found in the seeds with underdeveloped embryos that must differentiate before the germination. Means if the underdeveloped embryo is there, that embryo has to be completely developed before the seed germination, and after that only the seeds will germinate. Morphological, physiological dormancy developed in seeds with underdeveloped embryos, that is because of the morphological dormancy. Then the primary dormancy, in this case, the dormancy can be broken by weakening the seed coat and increasing the growth potential in the embryo. If the embryo itself is not having capacity to break the seed coat, then by applying some external factors or external force, we can have the ability, or we can create the ability or power in this embryo by breaking the seed coat. Photodormancy. Seeds requiring light or the absence of light are referred to as a photodormants or photoblastic. Some seeds may require light, require also the dark period before their germination. By applying such dark or light period to the seeds, we can have, or we can break the primary dormancy. Combinational dormancy is the result of both combinations of exo and endogenous dormancy factors. The seed coat may be hard, coupled by physiological dormancy, a lack of growth potential. And dormancy is reduced growth response due to the external stimulus, such as drought or cold. Removal of the stimulus results in the resumption of the growth, and paradormancy is a reduced growth response induced by the biochemical signals that is transported to the target tissue, and removal of the signals results in the resumption of growth. If there is such thing which is have to be removed, or which is interfering with the seed germination, by removing that thing or that chemical, we can resume the seed germination. Good examples of paradormancy is apical dominance, where the auxins transported from the apical shoots suppresses the growth of the lateral buds. The thermodormancy for some species like lettuce and some other plants, that may be also because of the low temperature, or that can be broken by giving the temperature range at the different between thermodormancy and the thermo-inhibition. Means the thermodormancy is there in the seeds, and thermo-inhibition is there in the growth of the plant. Thermal inhibition, on the other, is what seed experiences when the temperature exceeds the maximum temperature for germination. Whereas the seed experiencing thermodormancy will not germinate when the temperature returns to the optimum, whereas the thermo-inhibited seeds will germinate when the temperatures are lower. Importance of seed dormancy. Why we are going to study, or why there is a seed dormancy in the plants by nature. It follows the storage of seeds for later uses by animals and man. We need to store the seeds for longer time, and for that the seed dormancy is important, and the nature has been invented the seed dormancy or introduced the seed dormancy in the seeds because of this. It helps in the dispersal of seed through the unfavorable environmental conditions. As we already told, the seeds have the natural dormancy in them because if there is unfavorable conditions, that time will be overcome, or that time can be spent in the dormant phase, and whenever in the next season the favorable conditions will appear, that will lead to the seed germination. Dormancy induced by the inhibitors present in the seed coat is highly useful to the desert plants, especially those plants that are growing in the water scarce conditions. In that case, or in those plants or seeds, the seed dormancy is very important. The seed dormancy allows the seeds to continue to be in the suspended animation without the harm during cold or summer temperatures and even under the drought conditions. Because of the dormancy, seeds can feel, or seeds can have the time which they can overcome if it is a lower temperature in some conditions, or if it is a higher temperature in other conditions. But both the conditions that can be overcome by the seeds because of the seed dormancy. That is also the importance of seed dormancy. Dormancy helps seeds to remain alive in the soil for several years and provides a continuous source of new plants. Even when all the mature plants of the area have died down due to the natural disasters. If there is some natural disaster or natural calamity, because of the seeds present below the soil and their dormancy in the seeds, that may survive or that may germinate in the next favorable conditions or next favorable season. That is also the another and very much important characteristic feature of the or advantage of the seed dormancy. Lotus थांबवा इथं.